And welcome to our February edition of Sports Highlights right here on NNPS TV and nnpstv.com. Greg Bigaveras, glad you're with us for our anniversary month since February of 1992. Our show airs on Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. right here on Cox Cable 47 and 517. Our guests today are Dr. Lee Vreeland and Eric McCaskill, and we're going to start off with Dr. Lee Vreeland, President and CEO of the Achievable Dream. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Of course, you've got a lot of schools under your belt in education, among them Peninsula Catholic and George Mason. But I guess Achievable Dream has really evolved the last 20 years.
It has. So we just celebrated our 27th anniversary, and it really has evolved since the very beginning. It started as a summer tennis program and tutoring program, and has since then grown into K-12, 2 schools with K through 12.
And I remember one thing, too, that when it first started that tennis, I played tennis as well, tried to give the young boys and girls confidence also as they got older into the business world, and that's a perfect match.
Walter Siegeloff had traveled to Israel and seen a tennis enhancement program that is very similar to what he implemented with an Achievable Dream. It was really about teaching the students confidence, but also teaching them the manners that are on the tennis court, making sure that they were prepared on the tennis court that would then transfer into their day-to-day lives.
We'll talk about the Achievable Dream for people that don't know about it. Like you said, it's almost 30 years old now, but it really has changed.
Mm-hmm. So when we first started, I began with the program 23 years ago, and it was just transitioning from that summer program. They would spend every day in the summer at Huntington Tennis Center. They would do tutoring during the school year. And now we are a school program that has kindergarten through 5th grade in one school, 6th through 12th grade in the other school, and we are teaching students a social, academic, and moral program, a holistic approach to education. So we're able to partner with the school division and ensure that the students have all of the resources they need to be successful in life.
And that's true on both sides of the water, correct?
It is. We're in Newport News, and then we've expanded to Virginia Beach. We are now kindergarten through 7th grade in Virginia Beach, and we add a grade level each year. And we have expanded to Henrico County. We're K-4 in Henrico County.
Who's eligible, Dr. Vreeland, to be a student there?
So in Newport News, it is any student who lives in Newport News Public Schools. We will provide transportation from anywhere in the city. And we really are looking for the students that are committed to an extended day, year-round education, and who are looking for that holistic approach, the social, academic, and moral education, teaching the social skills, etiquette, conflict resolution, those skills that we know you're going to need to be successful in the world beyond high school.
You're exactly right. As we're talking to Dr. Lee Vreeland for Sports Highlights in February, it's several generations. You grow up face to face. You still have to do interviews face to face, and a lot of times you see it at the dinner table or at a coffee shop that people are not even engaging in communication, and therefore their confidence is not as strong with interpersonal skills.
I think the way you see it the most with our students is every morning when the students come in, we greet them, we shake their hand, say good morning, and they have to make direct eye contact. When a student starts off in the beginning of the year, they may be kind of putting their head down. Their handshake might not be really firm, but within a few months, they're making direct eye contact, they're saying good morning, and they're proud. They're smiling, and they know that they are somebody.
Right, you mentioned they are somebody too. By going to that school, does it supersede if, let's say in Newport News, they don't want to go to Menchville, Warwick, Denby, or Woodside, they can just say, like, my goal at a young age is to go to the Achievable Dream and go that route. Are there sports involved besides tennis? I know at one time tennis was a big deal.
So all of our elementary students still receive tennis once a week. Middle school students receive tennis once a week. But yes, we believe in all sports, and it being a really a way for students to socialize, the discipline and the structure of sports. It's a wonderful benefit for students. So starting in 8th grade, they can play any sport with Heritage High School. We're
Okay.
right next to Heritage. They just have to walk over, they go to practice, and they participate in all of their sports teams. Of course, we have all of the middle school sports that Newport News has in all of their middle schools.
Yeah, and 8th grade is usually JV, so they can play JV. In 9th grade, they're eligible for varsity.
That's right.
Right. As far as academics, what is the main focus? And talk about your faculty and staff there.
So our faculty and staff, is hired by Newport News Public Schools. We have a memorandum of agreement with the school division so that we are in agreement on all of the teachers and staff at an Achievable Dream. And really it is a mindset of whatever it takes. We are going to do whatever it takes to ensure that we are holding our students accountable to be the best that they can be and to be able to achieve their dreams in life.
And like you said, you've had a lot of stability there. You've been there for a long time, and of course, you've had predecessors there as well. But that's important for developing continuity.
I think it really has allowed us to stay focused on our mission and to not stray from that mission. I worked under Walter for 18 years, and I knew what his intent was when he started this program. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work alongside him in really seeing that mission come to fruition. And I'm proud to say that we're still making sure that mission lives on today.
Yeah, they start off as young kids and they leave as young adults.
That's right.
All right, we'll talk about the tennis ball. Is that a formal event technically?
It is.
Okay.
It's a black tie optional event. This year will be on November 21st, 2020. So mark your calendars now at the Convention Center in Hampton. We historically have had about 1,000 people in attendance. So it is a live and silent auction. We always present our graduating class and really give them an opportunity to shine amongst the sponsors and donors that have believed in them for so many years.
And I'm sure that's changed over the years too. I mean, is it usually heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks, or is it a sit-down dinner, or is it pretty much just go around and you do auctions the entire evening?
All of the above.
Wow, okay,
So
cool.
we have all of that. It is a formal sit-down dinner program, but before that, it is a silent auction, and after dinner, we have the live auction.
I know for my mom's memorial tournament, we've moved it around a lot over the years at different schools. I'm sure the same thing with that, because at one time it was at the old Omni, correct?
Way back when, the
Right.
first couple of years,
Yeah.
and then it went to Hampton University, CNU, and we've been at the Convention Center now for about 10 years.
And they have plenty of parking there, and that does help.
They do, yes. It really is a facility that I don't foresee us outgrowing anytime soon.
And what about the website as far as promoting the event?
And achievabledream.org, and there is a link to the tennis ball on our homepage.
Do you find the needs from the kids in Virginia Beach are different from the ones on the peninsula? Because they're two dynamic, different areas. Virginia Beach is the biggest city in the state.
It really is the same. We really are finding that the students are very similar in all of our locations. With an Achievable Dream in Newport News with a 27-year history, we've had a lot of the same families that have come through the program, and so there's a familiarity with the students, and we're just learning, and it's a refreshing to have new families in Virginia Beach and Henrico, but for the most part, the needs are the same.
And I'm sure that people, the alumni of the peninsula, have given back as well.
Oh, yes, we're very proud of our alumni. We have 780 alumni to date, and they're doing amazing things. And there's nothing more rewarding than to see how they are achieving their dreams.
There's a career that if you enjoy it, you're not working. It seems like that is definitely your forte.
I will tell you that I'm living the dream.
Yes.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
Right. We're talking the final few moments here with Dr. Lee Vreeland. Finally, give us your advice for a student that wants to be a student at Achievable Dream.
So if you go to our website, there is a link for recruitment, achievabledream.org again, and you can fill out an information section so that we can contact you and follow up so that you can fill out the application for enrollment.
Very good. Dr. Lee Vreeland's been our guest for the first segment of our February show. She's the president and CEO of the Achievable Dream. For over 20 years, she's been part of the program that now goes in the Richmond area, Virginia Beach, and the peninsula. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.
I want to be a historian.
I want to be a marine scientist.
I want to be an oceanographer.
I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be a zoologist.
I want to be an engineer.
Virginia is rich in educational resources.
Virginia is for.
Virginia is for.
Virginia is for.
Virginia is for.
Virginia's for learners.
The Telecommunications Center is an award-winning television production facility for high school students in the Newport News Public Schools. Students can learn studio, remote production, audio operation, editing, directing, and much more. Students can also earn college credit through dual enrollment. The center has graduates working for MTV, ESPN, CNN, Entertainment Tonight, and Tyler Perry Studios. If you want to jumpstart your career in broadcasting, contact your guidance counselor or call 591-4687.
And welcome back to our February 2020 edition of Sports Highlights. Glad you're with us for our program, our anniversary show since February of 1992. Hope you enjoyed our first guest, Dr. Lee Vreeland. It's a pleasure right now to talk to Eric McCaskill, who went to Huntington, who went to Purdue, involved with the McCaskill Alpha and Omega Institute for Family Preservation. Good to see you in person.
Thank you, Greg. I'm honored to be here.
I guess it all started off for you as a young person on 28th Street, and the Newsom family was around the area.
That's right. 4 houses down from the now historic Newsom house.
And that kind of like, there's an area called Newsom Park too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's named after Lord Thomas Newsom.
Right. With that said, athletics are a big part of your life. You went to Huntington, and of course, as you can tell, right? So straight out of Huntington, right? Very good. And of course, you and I mentioned we have that bond of Coach, Thad Madden, and they named the Thad Madden Relays. He coached, for the younger people, remember him coaching at Warwick High School from 71 to 80 as a football coach, but he made his name at Huntington.
At Huntington, yes, he did. As the track coach, without a track, Huntington had 14 consecutive state championships in track. Football, we did pretty good as well. Football teams were winning teams. Prior to me coming there, I think we won a state championship when Earl Faison was there. But Coach Madden was a mastermind. Didn't play football at Virginia State. Ran track and was a diver.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
You would have never known that from him because he was so quiet.
He was so quiet and
right.
meek and humble. But Coach Madden was a maker, was a king maker.
Yeah.
Was a star maker. And he didn't want the stars to shine on him. And he was always so modest about his teams. And I was talking to Coach Lovett last night, who coached against Coach Madden at Carver. Coach Lovett, Walter Lovett, who's now 91. And we were just talking about how Coach Madden's strategy and then the support team that he had around him, Coach Crittenden, Coach Walter Kane, Coach Ross Hines, and the alike.
Like you said, and it's amazing, he and his track team performed under conditions that were not great either as well when they did run. The grass was not always good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the practice on that football field, I was in the 8th grade, and gym class, we used to have gym class before the gym was built at the original Dory Miller Rec Center, which is now the C. Waldo Scott Center.
Right.
So 8th grade class, he approached me after class and said, McCaskill, I understand you like to run hurdles. And I'm, how does he know this? Little did I know, years later, I put 2 and 2 together. Never saw track before until the 1960 Olympics. I saw Rayford Johnson.
Right.
Decathlon. I said, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I used to run around the block, and I had screens in the alley, and there was my fifth grade teacher named Miss Carrie Brown, who founded the Newsom House. So she lived 2 doors down from me, 3 doors down, and so I believe she kind of put the bug
Yeah.
in Coach Madden's ear. So she see this boy jumping screens in the alley.
Right.
And Coach, he worked with me the 8th grade, and the 9th grade, I won 2 state championships in the high and the low hurdle.
Wow.
And set it was a national high school record for freshmen.
And I think you guys set the foundation because back then, if you played football, you ran track.
Exactly.
It was like
Exactly.
bread and butter.
Right.
And he was very innovative with that run and shoot, wasn't he?
Yes, that was after,
Right,
after
right.
me. That's when Walter Bowser
Right.
was, and they won the state championship.
We're talking about Coach Madden here with Eric McCaskill, and he coached Warwick from 71 to 80. We started televising games here in 91. I'm pretty sure every Warwick game we've ever done, I've mentioned his name. He made an impact.
Yes.
I mean, he went against Mike Smith and Dennis Kozlowski, of course, and he had great matches against Carver.
Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. It's Carver. Carver was our
Yeah.
arch rival.
Right.
For years, and some great athletes have come out of Carver as well.
Yeah, and of course, you later on evolved and you went to Purdue. My family were big Ohio State fans, but Ohio State and Purdue always had a good rivalry. What was it like going against Woody Hayes?
Well, Woody was a he was a no-nonsense coach. I mean, winning was all on his mind. And the year that we went to the Rose Bowl, we defeated Ohio State, which was rare. We had I walked on football, it was a track scholarship, walked on football, but we had 2 defeats that year. The football, 66 football season, one was Notre Dame and Michigan State. But Coach Hayes was a tough tactician,
Yeah.
and I mean, he set the Ohio State bar very high.
Right, he coached there from 51 to 78, and of
Yeah.
course, as times evolved, it wasn't easy. But I'll say this, and I'm very intrigued by this. A lot of young African American students from Newport News went to the Midwest to play college football.
Right.
You didn't see them as much going to Virginia or Virginia
Right.
Tech,
Right.
but yourself, Leroy Keys, kind of set that foundation.
Right. Well, actually, before us, it was the first athlete from this area to go to a Big Ten school was Emory Shug Turner from Phoenix High School, and of all places, he went to Purdue in 1956. And so he was the first to go from this area. Then Earl Faison went to Indiana. Then Benny McRae went to Michigan State, and then we just followed suit to the Big Ten because the ACC was not recruiting African American athletes at that time. Although my sophomore year, I got a letter from Jim Kehoe, University of Maryland, expressing interest in me in track. So that was the only letter I got from the ACC.
Right.
So Virginia Tech wasn't recruiting us, nor UVA or William and Mary.
Their loss. I'll say this too: the great Larry Bethea passed away. He went to Michigan State,
Yes.
and of course after your time, and of course he played for the Cowboys. And another gentleman that deceased and went to Purdue was Eric Hunter.
Eric Hunter, yes. He still has just heartfelt memory in those who saw him play. And when I went out for the 50th anniversary of the Purdue only winning Rose Bowl,
Yeah, there you go.
Bob Greasy
There you go.
was our quarterback. Drew Brees came 30 years later,
Yeah.
but the Washington Huskies took a big bite out of the
Yeah.
Boilermakers. But people were talking about Eric Hunter since Leroy and I were from this area.
Right.
And how he was just a magnificent quarterback. Unfortunately, new coach changed from a passing offense to a running offense, and Eric just did not adapt or transition with that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Greasy. He played with the Dolphins up until 1980. He was a big star at Purdue, but back then it was more about the running game.
The running game, yes. We had a fullback named Perry Williams. In fact, this is the 67 Rose Bowl championship team. There's Bob Greasy, Leroy Keys. Perry Williams was the one that scored. He was a fullback, and that's yours truly up here.
There you go.
At number 30.
Right.
But yeah, it was run, grind. Of course, Woody Hayes popularized 3 yards in a cloud of dust
Right.
at Ohio State. But that was pretty much the game. But Greasy was an accurate quarterback.
Right.
I mean, boy, I was making my way up. I was on the practice squad, and
How was it? Here you are. The travel wasn't great back then like it is now.
Right.
You were a gentleman from Newport News, and you said 30 years ago to the Daily Press that Purdue in that area was the Mississippi of the Big Ten. Explain what you meant.
Well, we thought that going to Indiana, we meaning Leroy and I, thought that going to Indiana, it would be
Couple roses, huh? Yeah.
right. That engineers and ag folk have a narrow focus,
Sure.
in terms of diversity,
Right.
and
I'm glad life has evolved since
yes,
then. Yeah.
yes. In fact, in this is
Yeah.
book. Last year was the 150th year of Purdue
Oh, yeah.
University, and Leroy and I are in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unfortunate that it describes an incident.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
It says that among marches, because we protested, were Purdue sports stars, such as basketball player, well, he's deceased now, Roger Blaylock,
Okay.
track star McCaskill, who set national records, high school records in high school hurdles, football legend, Leroy Keys, and more. McCaskill and Keys both came from competing and segregated high schools, a la Carver and Huntington.
Oh, yeah.
And Newport News, Virginia. So Newport News, Virginia is in the book.
Yeah.
And taking part in demonstrations, student athletes were putting their scholarships at risk. No actions were taken against them, but their participation added to the credibility of the student concerns. They had been called racial names, people had spit on them, and more. Keys said that when a group of female students saw him and several other African-American athletes walking together to a campus restaurant one evening, they became frightened and called campus police. Police were called in from other departments in the county, and the street was filled with squad cars.
Unbelievable.
It took the arrival, get this now, and intervention of football coach Jack Mullenkoff and President Hovey for the police to leave.
Right. I still think you're a better man that you went to Purdue and experienced that.
Oh,
right?
my goodness.
That made you into a man.
Newport News prepared me
Right.
for it. Huntington High School
Sure, of course.
prepared me for this. Coach Thad Madden prepared me to be a gentleman
Right.
under adversity. And I thank God for men like Coach Madden, and Walter Kane, and Ross Hines, and other teachers
Oh, yeah.
that prepared us for the adversity that we would eventually face.
Because we all have drama in life, no matter what,
No matter
who we
what.
are, no
No
matter
matter
who we
what.
are.
Yes,
How about sports after Purdue? I know you were more into music, but what kind of sports? How did you fix your craving for sports?
Well, after Purdue, I was in the record industry. I worked in Minneapolis for a short time with General Mills, and then out in Los Angeles. So I would attend, of course, attend Rams games.
Yeah. When Lawrence McCutcheon played for them.
Right.
And James Harris.
Well, James Harris
Right.
was the guy then, and that was very
Oh,
exciting.
yeah,
I would
definitely.
take my son, who's now 49, to the game.
Oh, yeah.
And, boy, that was a big deal for us as African Americans to see an African American quarterback, and James Harris was an awesome quarterback. He's a great leader.
Yeah, and I think that decade of the 70s, I mean, you mentioned, I used to watch James Harris as a kid, and Gilliam for the Steelers, remember, and also Vince Evans,
Yeah, right.
who played for the Bears. I mean,
Exactly.
those guys don't get enough credit
Right.
for before the Michael Vicks of the world.
Exactly.
I mean, James
Exactly.
Harris was on the Rams front and center.
Front and center.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, and it gave hope for those young boys coming up playing quarterback.
Right.
That they can play the QB position.
We have a few more minutes. I want to talk as we're talking to Eric McCaskill. We could talk for hours, as you
sir.
can tell.
Yes, sir.
But music is a big deal. You dealt with Bob Marley, Columbia Records. But I got to say this as a kid.
Okay.
I used to watch the ACC basketball and, of course, Big Ten. But there was one show I loved to watch, and that was the Soul Train.
So
And that thing to this day has the
Done.
best opening music
Right.
I've ever heard.
Oh, yes.
And Don Cornelius was a great host.
Yes.
Did you ever meet James Brown or Don Cornelius?
Yes, when I started in the business with Sussex Records,
Right.
That was my dream. Bill Withers was a big, huge artist. Ain't No Sunshine, Lean on Me. We also had a group called Gallery. It's so nice to be with you, Pop Bubblegum. But I used to go to the Soul Train taping, and one I particularly remember, it was a group called the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay. And
rap.
Don was not a fan of rap.
He wasn't.
He was not a fan.
Okay.
Of rap.
Okay.
He was forced because it was emerging. You know, hip hop was.
And that was clean rap back then.
Yeah, it was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean. Rappers delight, and it was said in the industry, "Oh, rap won't ever get out of South Bronx."
Right.
And I was there for that taping.
Yeah.
And now the rest is history.
Yeah.
It's a culture now.
Right, but I mean, as time went on and you came back in the late 90s, and you felt a calling here in Newport News
Yes.
with your family preservation as well.
Yes, yes. Alpha Omega Network and now Family Preservation. Came back home, primarily my mom was here. I'm the only child and helped care for her until she
Sure.
and my wife, Linda
Yeah.
Duchess
Yeah.
McCaskill, my
Sure.
heart, who was a cheerleader, by the way.
Okay.
At Huntington, and her mom too. So we were care for our ailing mothers, but both of us have a heart for young people. And when we were living in the D.C. area, we had volunteer, we had mentor programs in D.C. public schools. We used to be youth pastors in Southeast D.C. We brought a True Love Waits dinner to Southeast
Right.
D.C. So youth empowerment, youth development has always been our passion.
Right, you're still doing a little bit of that today.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, through our Alpha Omega Network, McCaskill Alpha Omega Institute for Family Preservation.
Right. Well, leave us with some advice for a young student, also an older adult, about day-to-day life and how to persevere, because you're all about perseverance yourself.
Yes, yes.
Hasn't always been easy.
It hasn't always been easy. When I came back, I kind of bailed out of the corporate world and was coordinated gang prevention at the Boys and Girls Club in downtown Newport News, and attended a national symposium on gang prevention. And Boys and Girls Club of America was looking for something to provide a moral compass in the Boys and Girls Club day without being religious specific. And they chose the Virtues Project. Took a team down from Newport News Police, Warwick High School, by the way, and my wife was a volunteer and represented Alpha Omega, the Institute, McCaskill Institute, and it was an epiphany. And we got excited about the Virtues Project. We traveled out to Minneapolis to be trained, and so that's our mission, is to help families realize the importance of living virtues. We also do parent education for the court, so we integrate. In fact, I have a class tonight that I'm teaching, that to be steadfast, unmovable, to persevere no matter what, strive for your dream.
Yeah.
Realize your dream. I realized my dream of going to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I realized my dream of going to a Big Ten school, and now came back home to hopefully be a dream merchant.
Yeah. and to give back to the community.
And to give back to
Well,
empower.
it's been a pleasure and a joy. Like you said, we could talk to this gentleman, Eric McCaskill, for hours. Thank you for your time and your talent and your treasure for all the decades of your life. And life is meant to be for a lifetime, not just for a moment. And I think you've lived a lot of lifetimes already, and hopefully a lot of lifetimes yet
I
ahead.
close with this. It takes a village with virtuous adults and resources to save our children.
Right. My mom said the same thing. First class act. This might be one of our best guests we've ever had in the history of this show since February of 1992. It's been a true honor to talk to you, Eric.
Thank you.
I think we're all better having a chat with you today. Very emotional talking to this gentleman. I want to thank Dr. Lee Vreeland from The Achievable Dream and Eric McCaskill for our February 2020 show. For Ray Price and the great crew, I'm Greg Bicaveras. We'll talk to you soon.